Hey everyone, Kimberly Castleberry, an hour 11 of a 13-hour road trip. Wow, I'm losing count. Okay, hour 11. We are coming in on essentially the home stretch, and here's where it starts to get easy to get sloppy. It starts to get, we've been here more than majority of the time, more than 3/4 of the time, more than the bulk of the time. And it's easy to think that we've run hard, we've worked it, we can come in on a coast, okay? We can come in on fumes. That we can either take our foot off the gas and let our previous drive carry us onto that finish line, or that we can put the foot to the floor, ignore everything around us, get terribly sloppy, and catch ourselves a speeding ticket on the way, okay? And that's two different effects that happen, and it really depends on where your mindset is at in business. And where this comes from is, we're exhausted at this point, regardless of what you're doing in your business. You've been running hard, you've been studying the same topic, it's getting to be old hat. You really don't want to look at another book, article, post on that topic. You're like, oh God, come on. And, there's this frustration level. And you want to either back off and conserve energy, or to take it full bore and just put the hammer to the floor without paying attention to what's around you because you're tired. And both of these can really set us up for trouble. Okay, there's a lot of people that get 90% of the way to a goal, and they take their foot off the pedal, they take their foot off the gas, and they never get the results, okay? They simply don't get there. Regardless of how much you think you've had enough push that it can carry you on those additional 2 miles, and you're almost done, you're almost there, you can't. You cannot take your eye off the ball. You cannot take your eye off the cookie, okay? Keep your focus. It's going to be worth it to go all the way through to get the final result. And it can be frustrating. It can be difficult. It can be, oh my God, exhausting. And it really is. We start to back off in self-preservation. We start to back off to protect ourselves. We start to back off because it hurts. And it really is this pain that we start to try to protect ourselves from and start to use as an excuse to back off, when in fact we have to take that pain as the challenge and use it as something to focus on, so we pick up some additional drive to drive us that last stretch. And it can be hard for people to get their head around the fact that this pain is growing you, that this pain is actually good for you. And the more you can actually focus on this pain and sink your teeth into it and use it to steel your will, steel your determination, that once you learn that skill of clenching onto that pain and using it as a lever, then you will start to be able to come through that home stretch easier. Now, on the other token, you have the people that, they get in these last couple miles and they're so in the focus, they're so caught up maybe in the pain or maybe in the exhaustion, they've kind of gone numb, the world just is kind of going by them, and they're just, we're going to get there, we're going to get there, we're going to get there. They're paying no attention to anything else on the side, and they put that foot on the floor, and the next thing you know, they hear sirens behind them. And the sirens behind you in business are when you screw up, okay? They're when you make a critical mistake. Either you don't call somebody back you should have, or, you are talking to a critical lead and you say the wrong name, or, you don't follow through on a major aspect of a JV you were working on and you let your JV partner down, or you don't finish up your sales pages in time to get them out properly timed between somebody else's pairs of launches, or, there's all these factors that you have to be aware of in your peripheral environment. And all of these factors contribute to getting those results. And you cannot, although you have to have blinders that keep you focusing on you and what you're doing, you does have to, the you focus, you does, how does that work? You do have to focus on all the periphery things you have to work on. Okay, you cannot lose track of all the additional elements that are affecting your business. Now, what you don't want to do is focus out too far and focus on other people's businesses. Don't worry about other people's results. Don't worry about what other people are doing new, shiny, fancy, fangled. It doesn't matter. The only reason we even mention other people here is if you're timing something around something somebody else is doing. Other than that, for the most part, other people don't matter here, unless they're your leads, of course. But other people that are doing similar businesses, other people that may be your competition, they don't matter. Leave them alone. And so you cannot get too fixated at that last stretch on that cookie, on that result, on that ball, because if you do, you'll lose track of everything going on around you, and suddenly the sirens will go off when you drop the ball. Okay, and you may say, but I didn't drop the ball. I was running hard. I was doing everything I could. No, you was doing everything that felt right in the moment, but you wasn't looking around you, and you let something critical slip. And that's a mistake you can't afford to make when you're coming in on that home stretch. Be aware that you take care of critical things first. And sometimes those are important things rather than urgent things, okay? Sometimes a small emergency is urgent and it feels like it's got to be done right now, and you have this small fire compared to something important for your business, such as, getting your page together and getting it timed out right and getting your Warrior Special Offer up on the right day, which is important. And you get distracted by the urgent and you don't do the important. Now, there are times that urgent is more urgent than the important, but generally not. Generally, we tend to start sliding things into that urgent category that aren't really urgent, that really can be put aside, that really the world won't end if they aren't done today. The world won't end if we don't get to that softball game. The world won't end if we don't make that potluck. The world won't end if we don't X, Y, or Z. And sometimes that does mean that the urgent stuff can feel very pressing on our emotions, okay? It's often stuff that really pulls at us. We say, Aunt Betty's going to be upset if we don't make that potluck. Okay, we say, our daughter's never going to forgive us if we don't make that softball game. Well, that's one softball game in the life of your daughter. It may be several softball games in the life of your daughter by the time you're done. But what it means is if you do the important now, it's only several softball games now, and you end up having a life at home, able to be there with your child for the rest of her life. Okay, sometimes you have to put aside things that are right now, that are transient, that are, a few things right now in favor of a much bigger goal. And this bigger goal can be easy to lose track of. It is the important, but the urgent often pulls at us so hard that we get lost in this urgent. And so this is where you have to learn to balance the urgent and the important. And it is the urgent that pulls at us. The urgent is so hard to put aside, and I totally understand that. I totally deal with it myself. And I do tend to get lost in the urgent, get caught up in the urgent, partially because I do a lot of critical calls, and I have a lot of clients that pull me here, there, and yonder when their site is down, because to them that is important. Okay, that's not just urgent, that is important. And, whereas I have to weigh them with being a client, and, they become my important, but sometimes they're my urgent rather than my important. And so I have to juggle time management, I have to juggle time resources, I have to juggle, all these different factors that go into my business. And I love what I do, but it really can require some aggressive consideration of what is important to be doing right now. And so as I come into this final stretch of this drive, I'm trying to resist the temptation to, take a nap. I'm trying to resist the temptation to say, oh, but if I just nap here, I can catch a nap, and then I can go on in while it's cooler. I'm trying to resist the temptation to just put my foot on the floor and run hard and, risk a speeding ticket. Now here that would be a high-speed ticket. It's the way the traffic's running. I can't afford a high-speed ticket in my business. I invest all the money I can into my business. I cannot afford to get personally lax and absorb a high-speed ticket, which is very expensive. That's not excusable, okay? A personal choice to run stupid out here, a personal choice to not behave out here, to not obey the law, could have detrimental business effects. And so I have to consider all this stuff around me and make critical choices to keep my eye on the road properly, to run the proper speeds, to run a speed that's going to get me there at a decent time, but not too slow, not too fast. And that's really where we have to be in the final stretch of our business. We have to come into that final stretch of our business strong. We have to come into that final stretch of that particular leg of our business, that particular phase of our business, running very strong. Okay, we can't just, give up or run stupid. We have to be running strong, solid, dependable, consistent, and that's what's going to get you the results. Okay, here is to your unlimited results. Kimberly Castleberry signing off, and I will see you on hour 12.